At least 7 people killed and 10 injured after an SUV ran into a crowd of pedestrians near a migrant aid center in South Texas. Among those killed include some migrants. According to the officials, a male suspect has been taken into custody following the incident. It happened when about 25 people were waiting at a bus stop outside the shelter in Brownsville, Texas. For now, officials are treating it as an accident, but some of the witnesses have said that the driver yelled out insults at the group before accelerating. US President Joe Biden has called on Congress to pass gun control bills in the wake of yet another mass shooting that left many dead at a Texas mall on Saturday. The president renewed calls to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, as well as to enact universal background checks and end immunity for gun manufacturers. A houseboat capsized in the Indian state of Kerala, killing at least 21 people. The incident occurred in Kerala's Malappuram district on Sunday evening, where the tourist boat capsized near the Kannur coast. According to reports, at least 3 women and 4 children were among those killed. The fire and rescue units have been conducting rescue operations since the incident took place. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended his condolences to the families and announced an ex gratia of $2,440 for the next of kin for each of the victims. A multi-vehicle crash in southern Turkey's Hatay province killed at least 12 people, injured 31 others. This incident happened as a truck collided with 9 cars and 2 minibuses on a highway. According to the local media, country's health minister said that fires broke out on the highway after the incident. The minister tweeted that 22 ambulances and 3 medical rescue teams were sent to the scene. A short circuit sparked a fire in a small gold mine in southern Peru, leaving 27 people dead. This is the deadliest mining accident in Peru in more than 2 decades, when 73 people died in different mining accidents in 2002. Peru is the world's top gold producer and second largest copper producer. And in 2022, 38 people were killed in mining accidents around the country. Russia claims to have destroyed 22 Ukrainian drones over Black Sea overnight. In the latest, the Russian Defense Ministry has also said that its forces have gained more ground in Ukraine's contested city of Bakhmut. According to the Defense Ministry of Russia, 2 blocks of Bakhmut are now under siege. The head of Russia's Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has announced his plans to ditch the withdrawal of his troops from Bakhmut. This, as earlier he threatened to retreat from the city, citing lack of ammunition, and even asked for Chechen forces to take over the positions. However, now the chief says he has received promises overnight by the Russian government that the forces will get sufficient arms needed to capture the city. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces have accused Russia of using white phosphorus ammunition in Bakhmut. The military on Sunday released a video purporting to show the white fire from such munitions falling in the city. International law prohibits the use of white phosphorus or other incendiary weapons on civilians. These munitions are designed to set fire to objects or cause burn injuries. Russian forces haven't commented on the claim but have rejected previous accusations from Ukraine that they had used phosphorus munitions. Breaking the long wait for the war-torn country, Syria has been readmitted to the Arab League. The decision came in after 12 years of suspension from the League, and with conditions and resources to resolve civil unrest in the nation, including the flight of refugees to neighboring countries and drug smuggling across the region. Qatar was chief among those opposing the decision within the league. The League of Arab States have said that a committee will be formed to communicate with Sudan's warring parties and the international community on reaching a ceasefire agreement, the committee announced during an urgent ministerial meeting. It is set to include Egypt, Saudi Arabia and the Arab League Secretary General. On Saturday, envoys of Sudan's warring parties were in Saudi Arabia for talks initiated jointly with the United States. This was the first attempt to end the conflict, which is still continuing despite negotiations. Due to severe shortage of funds, the World Food Programme has decided to suspend food aid to over 200,000 Palestinians. Over 200,000 Palestinians from next month onwards. This will impact families located in Gaza and the West Bank, where food insecurity and poverty remain high. Gaza, which is currently run by the Islamist Hamas group, is home to 2.3 million people, 80% of which depends on international aid. Adding to the rising Israeli-Palestinian tensions, Israel has destroyed a Palestinian school, citing the safety of the building, and destruction of the school will directly affect 60 Palestinian children, further increase the suffering of Palestinian population. The demolition is illegal under the international law and was strongly condemned by the European Union. The demolition was carried out on the orders of an Israeli court. Students and witnesses said that the building had been completely erased, leaving behind the trace of the school that once stood there. Tensions have risen 1 week ahead of tight elections in Turkey as one opposition mayor was confronted by a stone-throwing crowd in a city known to be a ruling AK party stronghold. Istanbul mayor was in an eastern Turkish city to hold election rally when a crowd of around 100 people started throwing rocks at him. Now, the anti-riot police were then seen using water cannons, vehicles to disperse the crowd, blocking the campaign bus driving away. According to officials, 9 people, including one child, were injured during the incident. After Slovakia's caretaker Prime Minister quit on Sunday, the country's president has asked central bank deputy governor to lead the government. This comes just months before early elections in September. Slovakia, European Union and NATO member, has struggled through months of political uncertainty as the ruling coalition has weakened amid high inflation. The country's political scene is fragmented ahead of the election that the largest opposition party may win, which also opposed continued military aid to Kiev. Hundreds of Hungarian women took to the streets in Hungarian capital Budapest to protest against police tear gassing teenagers at a recent student protest. Hungarian police fired tear gas at teenagers and detained 5 people at a rally outside Prime Minister Viktor Orban's offices on Wednesday. This happened after a protest against a new law that would eliminate teachers' public servant status and will significantly increase teachers' workload. The protest was the latest in a series of demonstrations over the past year for better working conditions for the teachers in the country. A 115 Venezuelan migrants that had been stranded at the border between Chile and Peru arrived back home on Sunday on a humanitarian flight. Hundreds of migrants, mostly Venezuelans seeking to return home, had been stranded on Chile's northern border after being denied entry into Peru. The incident sparked diplomatic tensions as Peru sent police and soldiers to the borders to block migrants. Chile's foreign ministry said that the flight was the result of a diplomatic effort with the Venezuelan government and its return to the homeland plan. Australians head polls to elect a council consisting of 15 members. The council will write a new constitution for the country. This is the most recent step taken to replace the country's dictatorship-era chapter. Participation in the polls was mandatory. President Gabriel Boric also participated in the polls. He emphasized that regardless of the election results, it's a step forward for the country. Alberta has declared a state of emergency after tens of thousands of locals were forced to evacuate their homes as wildfires rage across the region. More than 29,000 citizens have been evacuated from their homes as 108 wildfires still remain active across the province, among which 31 are out of control. According to the Alberta Wildfire Information officials, the total area of the province burned this year has now passed 375,000 hectares. Australia is experiencing an early winter season with cold front bringing snow across the southeast region. Weather Bureau warned sheep farmers across the region that their animals exposed to the cold wet conditions could die. The cold front began over the weekend with temperatures plunging well below the average for the month, according to the Weather Bureau, which forecasts morning frost would linger until early Wednesday. NASA has successfully launched first of the two cyclone monitoring satellites. This after previous launch attempts were postponed due to weather conditions. The rocket took off from its launch site in New Zealand. The satellite is the first in constellation of satellites that will measure the formation and the progression of tropical cyclones and hurricanes. Over 200,000 athletes around the world took part in the 10th running for the Wings for Life World Run charity race on Sunday. Organizers said that athletes of 192 nationalities in 158 countries took part in the event, the biggest running event in the world, to raise funds for spinal cord research. The race started at exactly the same time in each country. There was no finish line, but instead there was a catcher car that began its chase 30 minutes after the signal. The male athlete to cover the furthest distance before being caught by the catcher car was Joe Fukuda of Japan, who completed 69.01 kilometers at the event. Away from the violence and the clashes, a slice of history from the West Bank. Among a 143-year-old Turkish bath, it's located at the heart of the old city. After undergoing renovations, its doors are now open to visitors, nostalgic for a traditional bath. The renovated bath has 8 rooms, including a sauna, steam room, resting area, and a coffee shop for clients to enjoy. The traditional bath has been shut various times after being damaged by Israeli settlers. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.